Yo, man. We back again, man, with Power Plays Palace, man. We doing our thing. It's Friday. Been a good week. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happened on yesterday, man. Let's see if we can get down to it. All right. Power Play Palace. Two. Yesterday was Thursday, man. Let me tell y'all. So let's get down to the chart. Then we'll go over that. What happened? All right. So we had a previous day high of 767.34. Previous day low of 763.93. Pre-market high of 770.27 and a pre-market low of 768.43. And if you recall, I had said SPY had been operating in this little tight little zone, and then if it broke out, it probably gonna make a strong move one way or the other. So what we were looking for is SPY was to go ahead and break through and hold above the 768.63 43 mark, because it was pulling back a little bit before we put the chart up. Before we did the video yesterday, it had hit the high and then it started to pull back. But remember, I said that the pre-market high and low was both higher than the previous day high and low already. So the first target would be for, if it did pull back a little bit, was for it to go to 770.27, which is the pre-market high. And then from there, we had 771, 772, 774, 776, and then 778. And then if we got pullback, if we went up to 768.43, and then we tried to break through the pre-market high and we couldn't break for it, then the first thing we'll be looking for would be the previous day high of 767.34. Then we was going to be looking at 766, 764. Then you had 763.93 and 762. So those were the areas we were going to be looking at with the chart yesterday. And, we had a little gap up. I ain't going to say small, from the previous day high and previous day low, with that pre-market high being 770. So let's see what the chart gave us yesterday. Boom. Here we go. So all over in the pre-market, I put this video about 6:30. So in the pre-market at 7 o'clock, SPY was at 769.77. So it had started to really threaten that 770, but it didn't quite get the pull back. Got all the way back down here where when the market opened, it established that that low of the day of 767.16, and then from there it began to work its way up. Start work its way up, and it hit that pre-market high. Pushed up a little bit, got to 771, then it pulled back and retested. See, it's around that area, the pre-market low area right there, when it's retested right here at 11:45, and then from there it went all the way up to 772.35. Now, but that wasn't the end of it, because that was just at 1 o'clock. After that move, SPY pulled all the way down. At about 2:25, it got to 769. So that was a $3 move down. Got a consolidation here to 255 right before power hour, and then SPY pushed back up to 771.63 before it closed the day out at 771.04 at the 4 o'clock, the regular market hours. And then at 4:15, it closed that candle at 770.49. So it was still generally in that range. Then overnight, we got here, pushed down to 769.75 before it eventually jumped back up to 777 this morning on the pre-market. And right now, the high of the day, pre-market high is 771.59 and 770.64. So yesterday, as you can see over here on this chart, after we put up the video, we had a light little push up to threaten that 770.27 before SPY worked this way back down when the market opened at 7:30 to 7:67.16. You see, this is the first 5-minute candle. So that first part of the day, but then it ran all the way up to 772.31, and that's a $5 move. That's a pretty good move. You had a pullback here where you could have jumped in here at 11:45 and then took it up again, and then afterwards you still had a nice move back down where you could have played that too. So overall, I'll say we had a pretty solid day on the chart yesterday. If you followed the chart and stayed disciplined and played your levels, or if you chose to play my levels that I put up, the ideas from a trader that trade every day. Remember, not financial advice. But if you took those, then you had a pretty good day also. So let's look at the chart for the day. Right now, what we have right now is a previous day high of 772.35 with a previous day low of 767.16. Now, the pre-market high and the pre-market low are in between those two at 761.59 and 770.64. Now, from there, what we're going to be looking at, we're going to see if SPY can break and hold above that 771.59, and then the next target for that is going to be 772.35, which is the previous day high. Now, if it breaks above that, then we're going to look at 773, 774, 776, and 778. We're going to stick with these psychological levels because, that's usually where you get a reaction from the market. That's where the big banks and, I've always been taught that. So we'll see, we try to respect those levels, especially when we up here again. Not in these all-time high levels, we got to respect this stuff. But if we get and try to break above the pre-market high, and we get into this zone like 772.35 area in between those two. Now because sometimes you can break above it. It look like it's about to break and get a false flag and a push back down. So if it looks like that, then what we'll do is we'll target. If it breaks and holds the 771.59, what we want to do is target 772.35. And from there, if it breaks above that level, if it breaks above that level, then again, we're going to target the 773, 774, 776, 778. Now, if we get into that area and we start to push towards that area, and then we can't hold, and we can't get to 772.35, then the first thing we want to see is that it can hold above the pre-market high. That can become support, which push up. If not, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to target 77.64 on the way down, and then we're going to go into 769, 768, 767.16, and then 766, and those will be the levels that we'll target. If SPY cannot hold above the pre-market high, and it starts to push down, and that's what we'll be looking for. Now, if it goes below that 764, we got 763.93, which is the previous day's high low, and then we got 762. And if we push down below that, hey man, hopefully you don't made enough to not have to be trading no more for the day. But in the meantime, that's where we are with our chart for today. I look forward to seeing what the SPY do, man. It's a Friday. It's the end of the month coming up. So you got a lot of companies, closing out their books for the month, so cleaning up their books. So it'll be interesting to see how the market reacts to all of that. And right now, as we can see in the pre-market, because of this little brief gap up right here, this gap right here from 769.80 on up to 770.64, which was from overnight open and closing the pre-market, then that's something to watch, because if it falls back below this level 770.64, then we definitely we might have to encounter closing this gap. And if that happens, then that's a nice little move too. So for today, that's where we are. It's your boy, man, Power Plays Palace. Remember, this is not financial advice. These are some ideas from a person who trades every day. Now, what you can do, you can go out, You can play your levels, and then you can have success today and do your thing. Now, but if for whatever reason you need to use this chart and you decide to use the information that is helpful for you, then like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. Let us know, what you liked about it, what you pulled, and what information was most helpful to you. And then if you want to trade with us, come over to Power Plays, the Discord. And we live trade in there during the day. And you can ask questions and different things that we know based on things that we're doing. Like I said, we're not financial advisors, but we can tell you how we see things. And if you think that's good for you or something, then you decide to make that a part of your trade plan, then that's something that'll be good if it works out for you. And like I said, nobody's 100% correct, but we try to do the best we can. So that's what it is. That's our video for today. See y'all next week on Monday, man. Power Plays Palace, and we out.